This is Rat, and I'm gonna try magnet fishing. I think I got a magnet from my local discount hardware store. Unlike a lot of stores that have their stuff made in China, this store has their stuff made in India, and it's a giant magnet is what it is. It's not the ideal magnet from the other videos I've been watching. They want something called a Dionysium magnet, if I'm pronouncing that right. This is called a $5 magnet. And it comes with some good warnings here. To prevent serious injury, wear ANSI-approved safety goggles during use. Keep away from children, especially magnetic children. Do not place or store near electrical equipment or computers. Electromagnetic field can damage cell phones, watches, computers, electric components, and disorient compasses. People with pacemakers should consult a physician before usage. Electromagnetic fields in close proximity to heart pacemaker could cause pacemaker interference or pacemaker failure. So, if you've had heart issues and you might want to just stick with traditional fishing. Now, those of you not familiar with the concept of magnet fishing, there are very few magnetic fish out there despite the increases in mercury levels. I'm not sure if mercury itself is magnetic. I could look that up, I guess. So I got those things, and I got some of these little guys. These are made in China. They're made in China. And I got this rope, and I don't know the history of the rope, but we're gonna give that a go, and maybe we will find a banana slicer in that little body of water by the highway. Thank you. Alright, so I've traveled from the discount hardware store to Hedgehog Park, and I've opened the packaging, and already I've found one little issue here. I found out how the folks in India are able to make such well-priced magnets. They kind of cut out the center there. So when I'm pulling stuff out of the water, all those big treasures, I'm not worried about whether or not the magnet can hold the item. I'm worried about whether or not the metal disc around the magnet connected by the glue. I'm worried about the glue holding the magnet onto the metal. Also, I tied a knot there. I don't know a damn thing about knots, so I'm guessing that's a knot. And we're gonna give it a go. Also, if you come up here later on and you are able to pull this out, it's yours. Okay, so here are the rules of Hedgehog Park, and as you can see, there are no rules against magnet fishing. Also, I'd like to point out that since there are no fish involved, you also do not require a fishing license. Since this is basically the equivalent of bargain hunting, and you don't need a gun license for bargain hunting, you do not need a fishing license for magnet fishing. Alright, so as you can see, I have the rope tied to a picnic table, and a lot of folks, what they'll do is they'll tie the rope to something other than themselves. That way, if they toss it in and they get one of them magnetic freshwater sharks, it'll take the picnic table and not themselves. That's a basic safety concern you got to deal with. Freshwater sharks, freshwater magnetic sharks, kill you every time. Check it out, it's on YouTube somewhere else. The outtakes is just 45 minutes of this. Not much yet. By the way, I had to put the camera under the table so that the wind wouldn't keep blowing it around. Also, the rope's kind of wet now. Still nothing. Still nothing. You notice you don't have to pull it back slowly because you're not going to scare away the metal if there's sudden motion or anything. We're going to try a couple different locations, different directions rather. I'm not actually moving the setup. It was a pain in the butt to set up here. So I'm going to try throwing it that way and that way, and we'll give it a go, see how it goes. Now, there's a little spot out there, there's a white thing. I thought it might be a street sign. Turns out it was just a Dunkin' Donuts cup all spread out. Now, in New England, Dunkin' Donuts cup is a native species, which means if you see them elsewhere, they're an invasive species, so treat them accordingly. I think I'm just about done here, though. Not a whole lot of luck. This thing keeps flipping up. If you go with the real magnets, the neodymium, dymium, nickelodeon, that gives you, I think, more of a surround pull. So you get one of those, that'll probably be like 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks on Amazon, somewhere in that general range. and they'll probably work a lot better than my $5 fellow here. Hi all, I was cleaning out my gear, putting everything back in the Honda, and I didn't realize I actually did get a find. Boom! Little fishing lure thing. So that's my first bit of treasure. And I didn't even notice it. That's cool. Peace. Hi all, I'm shooting today from my hometown of Lowell, Mass, which is about 50 kilometers outside northwest of Boston. And a couple weeks ago I had asked, now we have about 6 miles of canals here, 8 kilometer. And so a couple weeks ago I asked if I could take if people thought it would be cool if I took a grappling hook and fished some old bikes out of the canals, because canals are loaded with them. And they said, well, there's a couple issues there, right? We got, first off, city doesn't own the canals, those are owned by a power company. And 2, there's a lot of live wires still down there. So unfortunately those are out of the questions with the grapple hook, and I'm gonna guess the permission issue is still there with the magnets. So instead, luckily in Lowell we also have a couple of rivers, the Merrimack and the Concord. The Roe wrote about those a while back. I don't think he did a whole lot of magnet fishing though. We're here near the Songus Arena, or whatever it's called currently, and we're going to try to drop some line right here. Now the water, this being early May, the water is still a bit high. Should not affect the magnet much, other than the fact that I won't really be able to see where it's going. So, but the other thing I want to talk about right now, before we get to the whole treasure hunting thing, is I walk down here. I live about a mile north of the river, because that's just the easiest way to find parking. The meter maids, meter person, meter attendants, folks here are kind of vicious, so if you're interested in coming to town, wherever you come from, you're probably better off walking. They very serious. But on the way down here, I passed this 4-foot tall K-cup spinner. And there weren't any K-cups in it, it was just on the sidewalk. It had a bunch of old bike kickstands in it. And there were kickstands lying on the sidewalk, so I picked those up, and clearly they belonged back in the K-cup rack thing. And there's a woman there saying, yeah, don't worry about that too much. Scrappers will come by, and they'll pick it all up for us. And I was reading some of the comments and some of the group postings about magnet hunting, and there's definitely a strong correlation between scrapping and magnet fishing. I think the only difference really is the water. And I remember when I was a kid, my grandfather, I was about 5, 6 years old, we'd go out scrapping. He'd wake me up on trash day, hand me a magnet, and we'd just roll down the streets, see what we could find, and take it in for a few bucks. And then more recently though, one of my co-workers down at the hospital said that she did a similar thing to teach her son about the importance of education. And it kind of made me think maybe that's kind of where it all went wrong, but then I realized I'm probably just listening to too much Springsteen. But we're going to give this magnet fishing in the Merrimack River a try, and yeah, let's just give it a go. I'm guessing that ain't worth much, but I cleaned up a little, I guess. And this reminds me of another thing a couple folks reminded me of, is you want to wear gloves. So I'm gonna put my gloves on now in case I find something else. You're cute, kitty. By the way, I did order a neodymium battery off the internet. I'll be getting that in a couple days. It's going to be a tiny one, but it's got the handle all attached, and it's bright orange so that the fish won't shoot it. They'll know not to shoot it. We'll see how that goes in a few days. Meanwhile, though, I still get this guy, and it works. So, I almost got a stick. It was a good stick, but it was a stick. I know the magnet I ordered is a lot smaller. Might not get the throw range that this guy's getting. So, any of you guys who are good at this, if you can give me advice on how to add weight so it travels, let me know what I should be doing there. Thank you. Now, you would think that something that was once known as the River of Death would have more cool stuff in it, but again, this was 100 years ago, 120, 130 years ago, and since then, I think a lot of the death has been fished out. Long story short, it really doesn't take a lot to get strange looks in this town sometimes. Not a whole lot of luck with that spot. I think I was interrupting a gentleman's phone call / moment of peaceful fishing. The magnet does make a bit of a splash. Also, when you hear about somebody hitting a duck with a 100-pound magnet, that doesn't mean the magnet weighs 100 pounds. Just to clarify that. So I apologize to anybody who might have red hot chili peppers related trauma, but we're gonna try under the bridge. Now, there appears to be a can down there of some sort. I don't expect it to be particularly valuable, but I'm just going to try to use a technique I heard about called aiming. Alright, so after 12, 15 some odd tries, and a lot of them came pretty close. It kind of occurred to me that it wasn't really a magnetic item. For a while I was thinking maybe if I had a real magnet it would work, but I was really right on top of this thing and it just wasn't picking it up. But eventually I knocked it into a position where I could see that it was actually another Dunkin' Donuts cup. No shortage of them around here. They're not really that special in these parts. Maybe you could get more for where you live, so if you find one, I'm not going to tell you what to do with it, other than you probably don't want to reuse it. So unfortunately not the most successful day 2 here for me, but this is still fun. And just like when I was doing the banana slicing thing, and I'll get back to that if I find a banana slicer in the river, it was really just about the fun. So thank you for watching. If you have any advice, I'll gladly accept it. Thank you. Alright, for the second time I was putting my gear away and didn't realize I actually did find something. I'm not sure what this is, but I'm gonna assume it's an indication that I probably should have been wearing gloves. I'll see if I can find somebody who can tell me what these little chunks are. But hey, they are magnetic, and they were the last thing I found on the disc after pulling it up and getting ready to clean it off, thinking they were dirt. Thanks for watching. Hi all, welcome back to another episode of Rats in the Kitchen. We're going to try a new magnet today for magnet fishing. This is called the Magnet Pal, right there. And what I learned about this is when you buy stuff online, it's important to check the dimensions of what you're buying. I honestly thought this would be a little bigger. It's right there. When I bought it on my phone, I thought it looked small because my phone has a small screen. Turns out that's actual size there, and it comes with a key ring. So that you can keep the magnet on your key ring, and it also comes with some little magnetic shavings in case you want to play Wooly Willy with it. But it is a Downesium magnet, or Dionidium. It's one of the better magnets. It's the official magnet, the real type of magnet that they tell you to try to use when you go magnet fishing, that everybody recommends. But because it's so small, we can do something with it that you can't do with a lot of the other magnets. So I'm not going to be using this guy. I'm gonna be using this guy here. This is a pocket Fisherman. You can buy these at CVS sometimes, or you can buy them at fine retailers and late night television as well. So we're going to give this a go. Alright, so I'm here at Frog Pond in Belmont, Massachusetts, about 15 kilometers west of Boston. And I tried to tie a bowline knot on this. I'm not quite sure if I got it right, but it feels pretty secure. Bowline is the type of knot that a lot of the sites are encouraging you to use, so go with it. That's what the pros are using. And one thing I'd like to talk about before we get going today is they'll tell you. Well, so let me just make sure I got room for the little screen on the side there. Another thing that comes up in a lot of the online forums there is they tell you you gotta be smart about which body of water you pick. You want to pick a good one. You want to pick one where you think there's going to be plenty of metal. Now, I went to a monster truck mud run recently, not too far from here. And there are plenty of bodies of water. And you had to work around the trucks. The trucks were big and they were loud, and I think some of those bodies of water hadn't really been there that long. We'll wait for this guy to pass. Okay. Okay. Point is, we're surrounded by heavy machinery. A lot of those puddles were just puddles. You weren't going to find a whole lot in them. So maybe not the best place to go. But here at Frog Pond, there's reason to believe that people dump things here sometimes. It looks pretty, but I think maybe we'll get some luck. Not a whole lot of surface area on that little fellow right there, but it is at least Dionysium, Nysium. So let's give it a go. Alright, so we got a little bit of something there. Not quite sure what it is, but it's sticking. So I'll put that in my pocket for now. Alright, so that's a little bit of something. No idea what it is. It's coming from out that way. Which means we're going to go over this way, I guess. So not covering a whole lot of surface area like this with this little guy here. But it is picking things up, so that's a start. So right now, I'm going to follow the advice of James Brown, and I'm going to take it to the bridge. We just got to get on up. We're gonna take it to the bridge. So behind me is a bunch of rocks that I could easily explore on foot if I were wearing better shoes, but right now I'm dressed for work, give or take the Baja. So there might be some stuff down there, but I'm not comfortable enough, I'm not confident enough in my rig not to get cut. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over to this side of the bridge, back to the calmer waters, and we're going to see what we can find there. Now, if you look carefully, I already caught my first wrench. Normally I like to catch them from the water, but some of them like to go pretty high up. What that does is gives your line a different angle, an angle that you might not normally get if you're just casting and not getting your line set for trees. you can also tell it's a much stronger magnet by how well it sticks to the fence, the guardrails, and everything else you already know is there and don't need to find. Okay, not a whole lot of luck at this particular point in this spot. Luckily it's a small pond, so we're going to try walking around, try a couple other more points of interest. All right, so just give me a second here. Two things I should probably go over right now. One, there was a little bit of dust on the magnet. Wasn't sure what it was, but it was really tiny dust. It was magnetic. There is a storage compartment right here on the handle of the Pocket Fisherman. I suppose I can put it in there. Maybe I will next time. But at that point I just brushed it off on my pant legs. Which brings us back to a little bit what we covered in the last episode, was the importance of wearing gloves. There's different reasons for you want to do that. One, if you're, in case you gotta find sharp objects, that's a good reason to do it. You don't want to get yourself cut. Another reason is if you're dressed in your work clothes and you're not sure if you have time to get all the algae off you from the swamp grass and whatnot. Another thing I wanted to cover is the casting location. How far into a body of water like this do you want to throw your magnet? And I'm reading forums that it kind of depends on what it is you're trying to catch. And think about how far people are going to throw that item. If you want to catch a large appliance, people aren't going to be able to throw a large appliance into the middle. That's going to be closer to the edge. If you're looking for rings or old weapons, things people want to hide, or things people just want to get away from them for some sort of emotional reason, those are going to be more out towards the middle. Most people, that's kind of what they're looking for, is the high value items and the value and the items of interest. Now, having said that, if you want to get some just big for the sake of either the exercise of it, or if you think you need a new washer and dryer, then yeah, stay close to the edge. Another thing you could do is you take one of them old washers and dryers, you cut them up, the panels, those actually make halfway decent art canvases. You can just paint right over them, hang them up in the backyard, bunch of pretty pictures in your backyard. Who doesn't want that? But we're going to move on to the next spot now. So I'm going to try a couple more spots here. There's actually two small bodies of water. I'm not getting my hopes up, but I am having a good time. I enjoy it's a strong magnet, small as it is. And the Pocket Fisherman makes it incredibly easy to get a good throw out there. Unfortunately, it just doesn't have the right surface area. But you know, if you have the equipment, by all means, give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy it. But I'm going to throw out a few more casts. I did find that little rock at the beginning, so we didn't come up completely empty. I've got that in my pocket, and I'll probably never look up, see what it is, but I have that. And I've got to give this a couple more goes, and then I got to head to work, but thank you for watching. Alright, so it turns out we ended on a little bit of a down note with that one. I lost my magnet in a tree. Was not able to retrieve it or find it despite the fact that it's bright orange. So if you come down here to Frog Pond and you're able to get it, it's all yours. Enjoy. So yeah, I'm still gonna stand by this. I'm still gonna recommend trying it out, just maybe in a less forested area. That would be your best bet. I don't see anything metallic it could have stuck to. There's no old trees or anything in there. They just fell into the water maybe, or it's trapped in a tree. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm Rat. This is Rats in the Kitchen. Take care. Hi all, I'm Rat. Welcome to episode 17.4 of Rats in the Kitchen. Today we're at Dunlap Sanctuary, the Dunlap Sanctuary rather, in Drake, Massachusetts. Again, not too far from Lowell and the Mass-New Hampshire state border. Before I get started, and if you want to skip this part, I'll put a link in the description so you can just jump straight to the actual magnet fishing part. Two things I want to go over. Well, I got a couple questions of why is someone who has no idea what they're doing shooting videos? And to me, that's kind of the whole point. When I want to, as an amateur, when I'm looking into something, I want to see how an amateur is going to approach it. Now, a couple weeks ago, wait for the truck to pass. A couple weeks ago, I was looking at some yoga videos, and they were geared towards beginners. But the guy was able to touch the ground flat-handed, put his legs in a pretzel, all this other stuff. It's like, I don't think you get what kind of stuff an amateur can do and can't do. I think there's a lot of things that someone who's a little more experienced is going to totally forget that was part of their learning curve. So with that in mind, if you're a manufacturer and you want to see, if you want to idiot-proof your products, you can send them to Rats in the Kitchen, P.O. Box 286, Drake, Mass. 01826, and I'll see if I can review it and let you know what you can expect from someone who's a little bit more clueless than a seasoned vet. Now, another thing I want to go over, I was looking at some of the ropes. I know in the first episode I said I didn't really know the backstory of this one, but I remember it a little better now. And I got this at a military surplus store, so it's not that bad. It's old paracord, 550 paracord. I was checking out a discount store today, and they had this bright yellow stuff, which was great. I thought that would be good for the video. But I looked at it, it was actually just your typical cotton clothesline kind of rope, so I didn't picture it having a long lifespan. And then right below that was this camouflage rope, which I thought would be horrible for the video, and again, just because they're trying to look militaristic doesn't mean they're actually military quality. That also had the same deal. They claimed they were good for 150 pounds, but I literally and figuratively just wasn't buying it. So then I went up to Tractor Supply, and they had the same stuff, only with more accurate labeling. They said the cotton labels, the cotton ropes are good for maybe 30-50 pounds of pull. So that seemed more accurate and just not worth my time. They also had this other stuff, which just struck me as a bad idea, so I skipped over that. And we're going to be sticking with the military surplus rope, which so far has been doing good. Now, another thing we're going to be trying out today is my first real magnet. From Root Magnetics. They sell through Amazon. I'm sure you can also buy them through some other places. This is especially made for magnet fishing. Ox magnetics, round neodymium diameter, about 3 inches in diameter. Comes in this nice little white box. The box looks beat up. That's because I've had this for a couple weeks and just haven't gotten around to using it, so it's been banging around in my car. Comes wrapped up with a little bit of paper. Pretty good strength there. Comes with the bolt, just screws right in. So we're going to give that a shot today, and let's give it a go. So that right there is my first big find right here at the Dunlap Sanctuary. Now we're going to keep going and see if I can find the rest of the car. Alright, so here's my concern right now. If I do find the rest of the car, I might not be able to get my magnet out. So this magnet is strong enough to pull up some friggin' good piece of metal. Not sure how much it's worth though. It's probably being dumped in there for a reason. But that there is definitely a strong magnet, and luckily the rope is holding up so far. Alright, so I've been here about half hour, 45 minutes, and I've been snagged on something in there quite a few times. Judging by the nature of the things I've already found, I'm kind of assuming, also judging by the fact that we're on a side of a curvy road, I'm kind of assuming it's a car. So if anybody actually wants to dive in there, check it out, go right ahead. Again, this is Dunlap Sanctuary in Drake, Mass, USA. I'm going to keep looking around. There's another body of water deeper in the woods. I'm not expecting any cars there, but we'll find out. Thank you. Now, this is a really pretty place, and it's incredibly popular with beavers and bird watchers, but all I'm seeing here is Snagsville, so I'm just not comfortable casting here. Damn. Unfortunately, I just got called into work, so we're going to have to call today short. One last thing, though. In previous episodes, we talked about the importance of wearing gloves. I thought maybe it was for hygienic reasons, or maybe it's because you're never sure where you're going to pull up. Turns out, a couple folks corrected me on this. The reason you want to wear gloves is to keep your hands clean. So, good advice there. Again, thank you for watching. Hey all, this is Rat. I'm back in Belmont. Gonna try another new magnet today. This is from Applied Magnetics. Again, comes in a little white box. This time it's wrapped up in bubble wrap. For those of you with kids looking for cheap magnetic because you think they're probably going to get lost anyway, this is a pretty good deal. 2 neodymiums for about 10 or 12 bucks. They come with this little divider piece, which is a good idea because if they come stuck together, that can be tricky. So I'm going to try to find the water. I'm in a slightly different part of Belmont. I think there's water around here. If there is, that'll make things easier. So let's give it a go.